Hey everybody, I am so excited to share this post with you today. A little something different from me. It is going to be an off-the-page video, and I'm going to show you how I made this fall wreath for thermal web. So I am using the mixed media sheets, which are kind of like an interfacing, and they come in two weights, a heavy weight and a lightweight. And I'm going to take them out of the package here so you can kind of get an idea of the thickness. And it's kind of like a little bit of a fabric, but it's also kind of like a paper. You can see kind of the fibers in there. So there are just so many things that you can do with it. You can also print on it. Today I'm going to paint. You can see the paint on it and then do some foiling on it as well. So you can see the difference a little bit between the heavyweight and the lightweight sheets. So I'm just trying them both out today on this project, and I am going to paint them with some just cheapy acrylic paint. So I'm mixing up some red with a little bit of blue because I wanted a little bit of a darker red. And here's what I learned while painting these. They soak up a ton of paint. You can see how much paint I'm squirting out there on my mat, and it just takes a lot of paint. So I learned as I was going that if I added a little bit of water to my brush, that it seemed to cover better and wasn't as thick. So yeah, it did take a lot of paint. And you can see there the back of the thick sheet, the paint doesn't go all the way through. However, on the thinner sheet, which I have here, the lightweight sheet, the paint does soak all the way through the sheet. So I paint all these with some reds and oranges and yellows, and I'm going to let them out to dry. Because I wanted to get this done, I left them outside for a little bit, and then I actually went over them with my heat gun a little bit to dry them off a little bit better. And I think a little later in my video, you'll see me break out my heat gun. So I do this with a red, and the same thing with orange and yellow as well. I'm not going to show you all of the colors here, but you know, again, just a little quick snippet of how I'm doing the painting here. Okay, so while those are drying, I am going to break out my wreath here. This is just a foam wreath that I got, I think actually at Walmart. It's a 14-inch wreath. And I have some burlap ribbon that I'm going to use, and I am just going to staple it right to the wreath and start wrapping it around. Now, this, I was kind of doing it kind of ridiculous here because I had the ribbon all along. So I found out that if you wind up the ribbon, wind up the burlap strips, you can get, it goes faster if you wind it up and then wrap it around. So that's my little tip for that part. So once I got the wreath all wrapped with the burlap, it came out really pretty. I went out in my yard, and we just cut down a tree in our yard, and we had all these little branches all over the ground. So I am picking up I just picked up some of these old little twigs, and I first tried doing them with a staple gun on the wreath because, you know, I had stapled the ribbon in, and that stapled very, very well, but the staple gun didn't work well because the twigs were too thick. So I have some floral wire, and I'm just going to go through with the floral wire and wrap these twigs around with wire. And I'm kind of arranging this so that some of you can see that one twig on top, it actually is a little bit curved and it follows the shape of the wreath a little bit. And I really liked that because it kind of helped with the movement you'll see in the final design here. So yeah, the curved twigs really add give it a good shape. And then of course some straight ones kind of sticking out there too. So I just fiddle around with these sticks a little bit, and the twine is really easy, or the wire rather. The wire is very easy to use and wrap around. I do go back at the very end and with my hot glue gun and stick a few pieces, a few dabs of glue in there just to help secure it, but the ribbon worked very well. Okay, so my mixed media sheets have dried, and I have cut out some leaf shapes on my silhouette, and they came out so perfect. This is a cut file I got from the Just Nick cut store. It's called Leaf Fit to Me, And I used the fabric setting on the preset settings, fabric, and I used a depth of 7. I always like to do my blade deeper than normal because I'm always afraid it's not going to cut the first time. So I actually probably use a deeper cut than is required, or deeper blade depth. And I actually just used a speed of 5. I know that's a little bit fast, but it went great, and it just cut this absolutely perfect. However, after I did 6 of these on my mat, and my blade, I think that I'm going to have to get a new mat and blade after this. But okay, so I have added just a little blob of Decor foil liquid adhesive on my craft mat, and with my finger, I just added some of the glue to the surface of the leaf. And then I put the leaves face down on the red foil. So this is the back side of the foil. And I am putting it through my Big Shot just to give it a really good firm press. And look at how gorgeous these are. Oh my gosh, it came out so much better than I even thought it was going to. Now, they don't cover completely, and that's fine because that's the look I was going for. So they just came out just absolutely beautiful. So these sheets, you can see my heat gun there in the picture. I actually dried them a little bit. I didn't show you that in the video, but I dried them with the heat gun, and that really helps the glue adhere the foil better, I think. So after I foiled some, I left some plain because I wanted a mix of foil and plain ones. I went through and stitched lines on every single leaf, and actually it went pretty quickly. I just used my sewing machine. I just did kind of 3 veins on each leaf. And now I'm just going to go through and staple these on with my stapler. As I mentioned, I do go back through and add in some hot glue in some spots to help the twigs and the leaves stay adhered, and to cover up some spots where you could see the staples showing. But for the most part, the staples were pretty well covered. So I'm just randomly adding some of the foil ones and the plain leaves. I'm going to overlap them and staple them in. And I'm going to kind of work from this bunch of twigs, from the center of the twigs outwards. So I kind of have a spray going up around the curve and then a spray of leaves coming down the other direction. So I'm going to fast forward a little bit so you can see when I've gotten all the leaves tucked on. And I had one really, really pretty red leaf that I wanted to tuck right on the top there where the twigs meet. And I first tried using the mixed media liquid glue, but then I realized it was going to take a while to dry and it just wasn't going to work. And a glue gun, I think, works best in this situation. So I do go back through and use my glue gun behind some of the twigs. Lastly, I had these little kind of, this little, I don't know, fake foliage thing that was in my fall decor that I had like in a bouquet of flowers and leaves for fall, and it was kind of getting old and raggedy, and I thought, you know what, maybe I'll just cut it up and add a few little more elements to the wreath, and this really just completed, I think, the whole wreath. So I'm just going to tuck these in here. There's a nice shot of my head. That's my my morning hair because I haven't brushed my hair yet because it's in the morning, but oh my god, it looks terrible. Anyway, so I'm just tucking these little bits in, and again, I go back through with the glue gun. I don't show you that, but I don't get the glue gun in the video, but this just adds a final little touch on the wreath. So that about wraps it up. I do add a little ribbon of burlap to help hang it from my door, and I am absolutely thrilled with the way this came out. It is just so pretty. The leaves, there's a close-up, you can see the stitching and the foil. They just came out absolutely perfect. So I am just so in love with these mixed media sheets, and I really think that you would love them too. So go get yourself some. Thanks for stopping by today.